Hi there students. In this video I want to look at the words enclave and exclave. Okay, the word exclave we'll look at later is much more a technical term, but an enclave, firstly let's look at it in terms of countries. An enclave is a country that is completely surrounded by another country or by other countries. So, for example, the Vatican is an enclave. It's completely surrounded by Italy. Or, for example, Andorra is an enclave. It's completely surrounded. But notice an enclave doesn't just have to be a country. It could be a political entity or a cultural entity or a social entity. Let's look at that in more detail and a bit more clearly. So, for example, in a city, you could have an enclave of people from another country. So, in London, there are enclaves of various nationalities. So, for example, it could be a Vietnamese enclave. It's where all the Vietnamese live. And if you go out of the area, then it just becomes normal London again. Okay, so an area of one cultural identity which is completely different from that which surrounds it. In New York there are Greek enclaves, Jewish enclaves, Turkish enclaves, of all types of enclaves. For example, Christiania in Copenhagen is an enclave. It's one lifestyle which is completely surrounded by normal Copenhagen. Okay, so it can be a group of people, a way of seeing things, a nationality that is completely surrounded by another. Notice you can even use this metaphorically. Having kids is a lifestyle enclave, because if you have kids, you nearly always only relate with other people that have kids, because you go to places that are suitable for children, and that's where all the other parents go as well. You go to school to pick them up, you do school activities, and you're within this lifestyle enclave of children. Okay, now let's look at exclave. An exclave is a place that is separated from the main body. So you have one country, and then you have a little bit of that country that is not directly connected to the main country. Okay, so for example, Kaliningrad is an exclave. It's an exclave of the Soviet Union, or of Russia. So it's separated from Russia. It's surrounded on the land side by other countries. But notice Kaliningrad is not an enclave because it has a sea border and you can travel by sea to the Soviet Union. So it's not completely surrounded, an enclave, but it is separated from, there is no direct land bridge. You have to pass through another country if you want to get there by car. Notice as well, enclaves, it could be a country, it could be a district, it could be a community, it could be many different things. Okay, it's a group or an area that is set off from the larger population. It's separated. Okay? So, enclave and exclave. With these two words, I would only recommend you use the word enclave. Yeah? The word exclave is much more technical. As to formality, an enclave, it probably sounds slightly formal and slightly literary. I think you could probably use it in an informal conversation, but it would sound much better in a formal essay or something like that. And the word exclave, I would use that only in a very formal framework, because people, if you use it in an informal conversation, people are going to say, what's an exclave? Yeah, it's too formal for a conversation down the pub. Okay, so an enclave, a piece of land or a group of people or a cultural area that is completely surrounded by another or by others. And then an exclave, an area of land that is separated from the main piece of land. So there is no direct contact between the two. Yeah, there is no direct land route through the country. It's not a peninsula. There's a part of a different country in between. So there you go, enclave and exclave. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Enclave and exclave.